What is going on, everybody? Welcome in to the North End Podcast, episode 35. Apparently, this is also now our Micah Burton episode. We'll talk about Micah a little bit later. My name is Zach Graham, your host here on the North End Podcast, joined, as always, by my good buddy. He's on record as my best friend. It's Ian Micho, a.k.a. E, a.k.a. Lee James, a.k.a. Sebastian Drew, EC, a.k.a. Eastradamus. That one wasn't as strong this week for either of us, a.k.a. Pappy O'Daniel, a.k.a. Chili Willy, a.k.a. Ian Stonkel. Busy week for us, busy weekend, I guess I should say, and a successful weekend for the Verde and Black. A late night for you and I last night. How are you feeling today, sir?
I am tired. Very tired, but also coming off a dub, so super happy. Obviously, got the kid on still. Got some excellent news about future Draco the Ruler album being dropped.
There you go.
So that's probably like the best thing that could ever happen to me.
You were asking me too before we hit record here what exactly we did after we got home last night. That was also one thing we did. We did listen to some Draco there.
We did. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were digging it. You were feeling it. I remember I was like, oh shit, he's really enjoying this. All right.
Well, we'll try to save the rest of our nonsense for the end of the pod, as per usual. Plenty to talk about here. Recapping last night's 1-0 win over CF Montreal. We will preview Tuesday's CONCACAF Champions League debut for Austin FC against Violette AC. We'll talk about that. We can talk about some of the other happenings this weekend in MLS, some surprising positions for some teams in the standings. We'll talk about some stats that stick out to us. We'll talk last business day, right? It was a busy week for FC2 as well. So let's go ahead and get into the game here. Again, 1-0 victory last night at Q2. You know, all's right in the world again, right? We got a win at home. We beat a team we were supposed to beat. And I guess the only thing to me that wasn't right with the world is like we weren't in the stands, but we were very much amongst Verde brethren out there at the wedding. So
that's right.
I guess the first thing that we reacted to yesterday, and the first thing we should start off the recap here with is the lineup from yesterday's game. It was, I guess, let's start here. The first thing that stuck out to me, when I saw this lineup, was who was not in it. And not just in the 11, but not in the team at all. That was Kip Keller, who obviously has been the center of attention, for better or worse, this week. I guess it's mostly just for worse. But both you and I were pretty adamant that we both wanted to see Kip get the start here. I was very confident that he would be in the team. And I think just kind of showing, I guess, number one, the lack of us being at training, being able to see all the things that the coaches can. I think we did add that caveat where it was like, hey, if he's not starting or whatever, like we're going to trust the coaching staff because they know how he's progressed or not progressed in training this week. But I guess I'll start it off there with Kip. I was just disappointed because of the implication that he really isn't ready and did not have a good week of practice. And now I'm questioning whether or not he's going to play on Tuesday. What were your thoughts on the lineup, I guess, starting with Kip?
Shocked. Totally shocked that he wasn't a part of the team. I could understand. I mean, we talked about it in depth, that we were anticipating Alex Ring at center back as well for some extended periods of time. I definitely did not expect to see him shifted into the starting lineup back there and Kip to be completely dropped off. Remind me, was Tarek available?
He was. So the bench, so I guess we could say too, now that we're kind of getting into the rest of the lineup, of course, Stuver in net. It was announced again. I guess I don't have, rarely is there a complaint about what our media team does, But the fact that we don't have our formation out there, when I see other teams doing it, I don't know if we think that we're getting some sort of strategic advantage by holding that back, but it is, I mean, it was certainly, there was some confusion there. And to me, initially, it says Vyson and Gallagher, Kolmanich. It read as like a back three to me. You've got Pereira and Ring on the list as well. I was thinking maybe Owen is going to be pushing further up, kind of alongside Seba, because that's his natural position is up there at the 10, if I recall correctly. But then it was not that. It was our typical back four. We actually saw John Gallagher get his first start on the right. So I didn't like to see that just in terms of our over-under competition. Zani stayed out there on the left. And then Leo, of course, left-footed center back, was on the left there. Alex Ring, kind of your right side center back. So sorry to interrupt, just, describing my frustration there, because I think I said to our buddy Kevin Morris, who I think both of us hold in pretty high regard, even though we haven't ever met him, like knows what he's talking about. And I said, it reads like a back three to me. And then first minute of the match, you can tell it very much isn't.
Yeah. I mean, like I said before, I was totally shocked that Kip was not involved. That does not look good for him. That does not bode well for him moving forward. We will see, if he can get some time in this Violette game, which should be a contest where we could get him some work and get his confidence back up, especially with what Coach was saying publicly. Kind of made it even more shocking to see Kip not involved there. And I don't want to dwell too much on Kip. Obviously, we've talked about him for at least 2 weeks here now, and really gotten into it. Happy for Alex. To get the start. He obviously had a lot of emotion. I mean, we'll get into it once we go down through the numbers and everything in the minutes, and his reaction to our goal. So, I for the entire week, I've been active defending Kip on the pod, defending Kip on Reddit and the stuff. I think not that I tweet, but I was in there looking at shit, So
confirming a shadow Twitter account. Is that what you just did?
I said not that I tweet.
Okay. Well, you don't have to tweet to be on Twitter.
That's true. You don't have to tweet to be on Twitter. So yeah, I had been defending him all week, obviously, and disappointed for him. Tough, but at the same time, happy for Alex. And this is what we said when Alex lost his job, was that Owen deserved it, had played better, and therefore he deserved to start. And now this comes full circle, and Kip had his game, and Alex, according to the coaching staff, deserved to start the game. And happy for him. And he obviously brought a level of tenacity that Kip just does not have in him. That is just not who Kip is as a person. He's not going to act like Alex. So it was interesting, but can't argue with the result.
Yeah, and I think obviously we'll talk a little bit more about Ring and his performance there. Highly rated among those, whatever algorithms those soccer-centric sites use to grade players each match. So on the bench, Tarek, like I said, was active alongside Valencia, Jimenez, Finley, Lundqvist, Lima, and then we see the double striker again with Bruin and Urruti active. So, no Kip, no Redis. And then, of course, Bersano, the backup keeper there on the bench. So we see this game get started. And Austin, I guess from a wide view, just as lack of a better term, I feel like we really dominated that game and were in control almost right from the rip. Third minute is kind of the first time Austin really builds up nicely. And Diego kind of it was taking a little chance, but testing Serwa, the backup keeper there early, kind of took the shot from the left side of the 18 there and just right to him. No real threat, but, making sure you're awake back there.
For sure.
One thing that I noticed immediately, and I would say immediately on the rewatch, because the first half when we watched it last night, we were, at the wedding near the dance floor, a bunch of people crowded around my phone. One thing I noticed immediately on the rewatch was that Gallagher was playing further forward on the right than Zahn was on the left. at least through the first like 10 minutes of this game. And you and I were looking at some of the heat maps from last night, and
Yep.
that does hold up. Zahn was playing much further back, much more in the role positionally on the field where we're used to him being. There was some of the scuttlebutt in between game 1 and 2 was Zahn was pushed up too far forward. And when he gets near that end line and that corner flag, because he's so left-footed, he becomes much easier to guard up there. It's tougher for him to whip in those dangerous crosses. So I think it was a positive, especially on the rewatch, to see Zahn more in that position where I think a lot of the fans feel more comfortable with him being.
He feels more comfortable in that position as well. You can just kind of tell, like you said, with the added defender of the sideline and the fact that he's trying to go left and get a ball coming off of his left foot crossing in really limits his ability on that side. Also, Johnny's faster.
Sure.
Like end to end, he can make up more ground.
Yeah.
So
I think it's close there, right?
Yeah, no, it's really not that close. So I'm fine with it. And like you said, with the heat map that we checked out, you could see where the action was, how we were trying to play, move up the field.
Mm-hmm.
And right from the rip, like you said, we were on their ass.
Yeah.
And, obviously we'll get into Rigoni here a little later, but clearly the better team. Also, I do want to say that this team, we, like you said, we were watching the game at the wedding. So, it was a little difficult to be completely locked in, but we were doing our best.
Yeah.
They really kind of played this defense, like a really great red zone defense in the NFL. Yeah. They let you move the ball up in between the 20s, and then when they get into the 20-yard zone, they locked it down. And that's kind of what this team did. And we had some chances early, just didn't capitalize.
Yeah, the bend don't break kind of defense there, right? From Montreal. 8th minute, Saliba, right? The young 10 filling in for Milhevich right now while he's out with the meniscus injury. He takes out Seba from behind, catches an early yellow there in the 8th minute on the ensuing set piece. Ended up not getting it into the box immediately, kind of dumped it outside to the left, got it on Zahn's left foot. He whips it into the box and right on Zardes. And Jassi just couldn't really corral it, and Serwap scoops it up. But now it's kind of a theme. Like the ball found Zardes in this match, whether it was him coming back up the middle and kind of filling some of that space teams have been leaving him there, or just being dangerous in the box. And again, I guess we'll talk about it here in a minute, but the goals are coming, and not just for Jassi.
Absolutely. And I definitely do want to touch more on Giassi and how dynamic he has looked in our offense. So we'll get into that, I know, a little later. But yes, I totally agree. The ball finds him, he finds the ball, and he's clearly building a lot of really good chemistry with Seba, Fagundes, and Rigoni. So we'll take it.
Absolutely. 10th minute. Dani, who was fantastic again. Won it back kind of near Montreal's 18 out there on the left side again, doing some damage out there in the first 15 minutes. Seba immediately kind of backheels it, like give and go style, but it was just so juicy. There's a classic, MVP type of pass there. Backheels it to Dani. Dani runs right onto it. He slides it into Zardes, and I can't tell if Zardes, the touch he takes, is on purpose or not to kind of redirect it towards Rigoni. I'm 50-50 there, and I guess I'll lean, to the good guy's side and say he meant to redirect this to Rigoni in the middle. And, again, this is more of just getting into our personal biases here, whether it's best ball or otherwise, because we've been big Rigoni guys since he got here. He did not do anything last night to help his case with the people who are doubting his acquisition, his position as a designated player on this team. He gets it wasn't wide open, but it was a fantastic look after this touch from Zardes. Great look, but better defense.
Great defense.
Kamal Miller, who again, all league. We said it last episode, right? We would love to have that guy on our back line, and not just because we're shorthanded now. So it was a great sliding deflection there by Miller. But I think it may have shook Rigoni to not score there, because he got it going towards the end of the preseason, and now, some close chances that don't quite, find the back of the net, I guess.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, this topic of conversation is so much deeper than just him getting on the score sheet right now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like, is he performing up to the level of a DP that we would expect? No. I as big of supporters of him as we are, he's not playing at a DP caliber level right now. But he's not far away. Right. Because the only thing that is going to just push that into he's playing as a DP caliber level is when he puts the ball into the back of the net.
Right.
But he is creating all kinds of opportunities for this team.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he is creating chances for himself that, yes, he should have scored. And once he gets off the schneid and like gets the fucking top off of this and like gets the first goal, it's going to be off his back. It's going to be off of him. So, I also don't think that we can understate how nice of a defensive play that was.
Yeah, no,
like a fantastic defensive play in the box there to sell out completely and do your job exactly how you have to in that, last ditch situation.
Yep.
So the Rigoni hate, I'm obviously not on board with it, and I don't know if anyone's going to celebrate more than you and I when he finally has it on the board. Yeah. And I can admit that that's frustrating for a fan base. It's like, he hasn't scored yet. We know. But I did see, again, back to Kevin Morris, he was talking about Rigoni's like expected goals and expected assists.
Mm-hmm.
He was saying he's creating over half a chance per game for this team. So you have to look at that. And he still passes the eye test every time.
Right. Yeah.
Every time.
And again, that's not the underlying numbers, right? Don't tell the full story. You can't just base everything off analytics because that's not what this game is. You have to score the goals. You have to convert. But yeah, absolutely. obviously on board with everything you said about Emmy. Their 12th minute ring up to Gallagher on the right side. He swings it in for Zardes. Just couldn't get his head on it. Kind of, I think, skims off his head. And I think either to Serroir or out for a goal kick. But again, Zardes just getting in threatening positions, and these guys are looking for him frequently. 13th minute. Shout out Sam Piet there. Becomes Montreal's all-time leader in minutes played, the captain. So, good on him.
Is he Canadian?
I believe so, yeah.
He is, right? I'm pretty sure he's Canadian.
Well, we have this thing called
one of their
right here.
300 homegrown players.
I'm not sure if he's a homegrown designation, but he is Canadian. And I am not. I would toss it to you to try to pronounce this town, but we can just go ahead and move on. 15th minute. Woo. Great buildup from the back here. Like I said earlier, like Zardes finding that space that I think a lot of people were calling for him to take, dropping in deeper, kind of opening up Montreal through that middle. He receives the pass from the back, finds Gallagher out on the right, and Gallagher takes a few touches, gets it to the middle on the ground, right to Rigoni, and then this is the one that Rigoni should have finished.
Absolutely. This is a completely different situation, and this was one where you could tell he was in his head about it because he just tried to for lack of a better term, pussyfoot it.
It was the safe shot.
Yeah, no, he shoots it with the instep of his foot, shoots it with the inside, which is, you have more control over the ball. He had no pace on that shit. And it was awful, it's a one-timer, and he had no juice behind it. So it didn't really look like he wanted to get that one in the back of the net. He was just hoping, that the goalie wouldn't get there or something. I don't know. It didn't look like he was like, I have to score right now. Like if that's Seba, the ball rips through the back of the net.
Yeah.
So that's tough, man. That was a really tough one. And I don't have a defense for Rigoni in that regard.
My notes here say not his best effort. So I will leave it at that.
Okay.
20th minute here. Driussi gets an outlet from Stuver, kind of center right. Fires across field pass all the way to Zardes on the left. He runs onto it. He makes a great move to split two defenders, gets into the box. His pass gets deflected, but it kind of falls to Diego. He takes a crack. That gets deflected out for a corner. So again, through the first 20 minutes now, we have numerous chances, consistent pressure on this Montreal back line. 22nd minute, Owen picked up a yellow. On the I didn't see this live on the rewatch. It felt a little soft for how the match was being called at that point.
Okay.
But it did get fairly chippy after that for about a half hour.
Well, they were fucking pissed about the first yellow card.
On Saliba?
Yes.
Yeah.
They wanted that to be called because the first one got called. But I mean, in contrast, like if you're comparing those two, the Owen one is much more tame. I did still think it was a yellow.
Sure.
But yeah, it got chippy. It got physical. We knew they were going to do this. We knew they were going to do this. St. Louis did it to us too. It's a physical game. They got to try to make it a little dirty. Mm-hmm. But I do want to make a couple points about those buildups that we had from the back, because that's what it's supposed to look like.
Yeah.
And I know we didn't get on the board. We absolutely should have gotten on the board. And then people can remember how nice of a buildup that was and how it all supposed to look.
Yeah.
And we've been preaching for the longest time, it's about the progress here, not necessarily the end result. So I just want to point out that we had a lot of really great buildup from the back, and shout out Alex Ring for that. Shout out Cap. Because he was a big part of that. And after the first game, we also talked about Giassi coming back to the ball and getting those longer kind of balls up to him. So, yeah, we were playing great. We were really humming. And to go nice 0-0, man, like, fuck.
Yeah. Yeah. I can only imagine the tension in the stadium at that point among the fans. Like, we felt it miles and miles away. And we should be up. And, like, now Apple TV playing into expected goals, they're kind of flashing an update on XG every like 10-15 minutes during the match, and like that'll make you clench even more seeing like 15 minutes into the match we're at 1.2 XG and we got no goals. 27th minute, kind of like the first nervy moment for us. Like Ring kind of gets turned around in our own corner down there, tries to kind of get it out wildly. Like it reminded me of the Finley turnover against the Galaxy last year, where he was trying to boot it. It didn't go exactly where he wanted it. He was on his back foot when he kicked it and intercepted. So it gets to Rigoni, but he can't really bring it in, or he can't really. Kamal Miller just kind of wins it from him, and Kamal takes one touch, blasts a shot. Luckily, wide left, didn't really challenge Stuber, but that was like it was just a little shaky in that. It's good that we're 27 minutes in before we're mentioning something like that.
Absolutely. Bouncing ball like that, anyone's going to take a crack. And he did. And it was a good strike off target. But, yeah, that was a bit of a helter-skelter play in one of our shakier kind of moments where, I mean, it's really indecisiveness and not knowing what you want to do with the ball, where you want to deliver it, not being one pass ahead. And then we get caught up. But fortunately, we did not give up a goal here.
30th minute. This is the first time the officials pull people aside. Kyoto and Kolmanic kind of have a little meeting with the official. They were jawing at each other kind of before a throw there on the far side from the broadcast cameras. 2 minutes later, another great buildup from the back. Leo outlets to Dani, and Dani did this a lot too, which you and I have been wanting him to do more since year one. He gets the ball, turns and sees space, and he takes it and just starts to break down the middle, slicing this defense up. It was not the only time he did that last night. There was a lot of success. It created a lot of chances for us. He slides it through to Zardes, kind of center left there. Zardes slots it home. We go crazy. Called back for offside. But again, like I think, and I also think they made this point on the broadcast, but I think we said it at the wedding when that goal went in, is like, even though it was called back, that's good for him to see the ball go in the back of the net. You're an inch offside and good finish. Like the goals will come for him and for many other players on this team. A minute later, Montreal breaks a line. Now this is getting more up and down, more of an open game. Kyoto gets free down the left. Nice move past Alex Ring. And then a pretty good cross to Sean Ray over there on the right. Fantastic Stuver little kick save. It bounces right in front of the goal line, and Kolmanic there to clear it away. So maybe the most threatening moment of the night right there for Montreal. And Stuver, I mean, just doing Bradley things.
Absolutely. I mean, this is like these consecutive kind of back-to-back plays here are such a microcosm of how fucking insane soccer is.
Yeah.
Because like, we're kicking ass, and then like, how many times does that ball for Montreal not go in the back of the net there?
Mm-hmm.
And, he's 6 feet away.
Yeah. That jumped their XG. The next check-in that Apple did with the XG, they were up, I think, close to 1, if not over 1. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I mean, we're not going to get into the hypotheticals and the what ifs and anything like that. But if they go up 1-0 there, you know what I mean? Like, it's just.
That's deflating.
Yeah, it's an insane game. Just like crazy how fast things can turn like that. But shout out Brad, doing Brad shit.
Yeah, doing his thing. 35th minute. More drawing this time. I should say this time between Alex Ring and Nathan Saliba. The official powwows with the captains this time. So pulls Piet over, pulls Driussi over. They have another meeting. And then you definitely see he started calling a tighter game after that, at least till the half.
Good for him.
Yeah, which makes sense, controlling the game.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was a fairly well officiated match. There's always things I can nitpick about with an official. Sure. I think any of us can do that, but I thought it was solid.
I agree.
41st minute. I guess this is another like really good chance for Montreal too. Like Dani is on that far sideline from the broadcast camera. Tries to kind of just clear it all the way back to Stuver, but doesn't get enough juice on it, and Kyoto just runs onto it. Mm-hmm. And then he makes 2 nice moves and just gets around Leo and then gets around Ring, who's charging in to help.
Yeah. And
lays it off to, I forgot how to say this guy's name. Schwaner is guy was streaking up the right.
Yes.
And then Stuver ended up saving it out for a corner. Like, I think luckily the angle kind of, it just, when that pass from Kyoto went out to the right, mm-hmm. It just kind of helped Stuver with the angle. Whereas if he was able to cut inside instead of Leo and Alex forcing that ball to go outside, like I think Stuver has a tougher time there, and maybe we are down 1-0.
Yeah, no, this is another great chance for this club, and a big difference between the type of player Alex Ring is and the type of player Kip is. You saw Alex very committed on the front foot, wanting to go after this offensive player in an attacking style. It was a great pass, great little drop off, but yes, forcing that ball out wide, shrunk the net, helped Stuver out. A very amateur save for someone like Brad.
Yeah, does that in his sleep, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So we get to halftime, and then like the first 10 minutes of the second half, no changes for either team. First 10 minutes, pretty sloppy. Kind of short possessions. We saw this for some extended periods of time against St. Louis City in week 1. It also gets chippy again. Like guys are jawing, guys are, like you said, getting physical. In 57th minute, Dani makes another fantastic run on the ball up the middle. And he takes a crack. So we're going towards the north end, of course, now in the second half. He takes a crack from outside the box. But shot gets blocked. But I just, in my notes, said he's tearing this team up in the middle when he chooses to. And I just hope we continue to see that, because obviously through the early part of the season so far, we've seen him sitting deeper and having a bigger role helping out that back line. But if this is the trade-off, like he spends more of his time on the back line or helping out, on that back half of the field, the defensive half, but is taking more liberties when he does see that space, I am ecstatic for a season of that.
Absolutely. He looked good. Again, he looked really good.
Like I said, got chippy here at the beginning of the second half again. Piet levels Zardes, picks up a yellow, stopping that fast break. A professional foul.
Yeah.
I had no issue with it.
Yeah.
Subs 66 minute. Off-war comes on for Rhea, on the right wing 3 minutes later. Finley on for Rigoni. So again, we saw Finley come on for Fagundes in week 1 and shift Rigoni to the left. This time Diego sticking in there for a little while longer. Finley in for Rigoni on the right. And then 72nd minute, 2 more changes for Montreal. Ibrahim came in for Piet. Zuhair in for Saliba. 75th minute, Austin building up again down the right side. This is really when, last 15, 20 minutes of this match is when the pressure, it was either going to break or it was going to be one of the most, I don't know about heartbreaking, but one of the most frustrating draws that we have seen in quite a long time. Maybe, I guess I can't overlook the Colorado match last year where we left for a 1-1 draw furious. But like you could hear it on the broadcast that the buildup in the stadium, everybody, was willing this team on. And we've seen that before, that the fans do have an effect when we're at Q2 in tight moments like this. So 75th minute, we're building up down the right side. Finley ends up crossing it in to Zardes. Zardes collides with Serwa, and then that ended up being the end of his night. It didn't seem like trainers came out. Didn't look like they were checking him for a concussion on the field, but Urruti was ready. So Urruti comes in for Zardes, kind of right around the time when we said last week we would like to see him, 75th minute. Then Lima comes in for Diego, which saw John Gallagher go from right back to left wing, where he began his Austin tenure. And, once again, John Gallagher, Maxi Urruti doing good things late in the match. 1 minute later, Ring wins the ensuing long ball from Serwa on the restart. Wolf comes down with it. Also thought he quietly had a nice match. Wolf slides it to Driussi. He threads it to Maxi up the middle. Maxi takes a shot wide left. Ended up being offside anyway. But, the immediate threat from Maxi is what's encouraging there. It's not surprising in the least. But I guess let's take a second here and kind of discuss this striker rotation that we've seen through the first two games. I see a lot of people calling since the game last night for Urruti to start over Zardes. We've seen some people saying that since before the season. What are your thoughts there? Because I certainly have some, but I want to know what you think about who should start going forward in terms of, we're going to see both guys get starts. But, assuming full health, everybody's, well rested, who is your starter now that we've seen this go twice?
Zardes, period. We signed him to come start for this. We went and got him to start for this team and play for this team. And I talked about it a little bit earlier when I said I didn't want to touch on Giassi again when we got the chance. But you saw him in open space with the ball. You saw him moving the ball up with pace. You saw him being in the right place many times. You saw him put a ball in the back of the net where he's just off sides. So, again, yes, Maxi scored the game winner. Fuck yeah. I love me some Maxi. I do. Of course. He's better suited playing 25 minutes, balls to the wall in a game like that than us having it switched around. And then Giassi's in that position with a more tired Seba, with a more tired lineup. And that's just, again, they bring two very different things to this team. And what Zardes brings to the team, we need more of for the duration of a game than we do with what Maxi brings to the team. So we've talked about how dynamic we think this offense is going to be. We got 3 goals in the first 2 games here. And, like we said in this game, we could have hung 3 or 4 on them. And that's also with them, like you said, in this latter part of the second half, they were just all the way back.
They're just trying to get out of there.
They had their whole fucking team on the one half of the field. When
Kyoto comes out later on, he's walking, stopping, falling down. They are just trying to salvage a point. I think I'm totally with you at this point on Zardes over Maxi. And I think it's working. What they're doing with Zardes and Maxi is working. I know that we're 1-1.
Yes.
But Maxi has looked so good because he's fresh and he's going up against tired defenses. And so again, we're not saying Zardes should not or will not start games this year. Of course he will. But the main starter, I think in both of our eyes at this point, should still definitely be Gyasi Zardes.
Absolutely. I mean, bro, we got to
have look.
We're one catastrophic pass back
from being 2-6 points. Yeah.
We're 2-0. Like, yeah. So go ahead. Yeah.
Well, I just think like we as fans, and we're certainly guilty of this too, especially in the moment, is like having patience with this process of a season. Absolutely. It's a long season. They just came through preseason with a bunch of ideas about how they're going to structure this team this year. Not all of them are going to work, but we have to let it play out. And not everybody call for, oh, well, this person should have started this, we can all debate and talk amongst ourselves, but to say that we know better.
Yeah.
Certainly you and I don't have any delusions that we have any idea compared to what the coaching staff does.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I love Maxi. He's also a fan favorite. Like, I get that.
Yeah.
But if he's playing the way that he needs to play to be his best at his like peak Maxi, it's like 20 minutes.
Yeah. Well, and if he gets a start, it's like 60 minutes, right? You're not going to leave him out there that long.
Yeah, and it's not the same when he plays 60 minutes.
For sure.
It's really not it's just not the same.
80th minute, Dani taps the ball over the top to Finley. Finley turns around, starts the attack. Really slick layoff to Urruti on the right. He shoots. Shot gets deflected and then hits the post. And off the post, there's a rebound available, except it goes right into the hands of Surwa, who had kind of turned around to see to watch it go in.
Yeah.
And it just bounces right back to him. So again, like the threat, these guys are at DEFCON 5 on defense, right? Like they are trying everything to keep, threat level midnight. Exactly. 81st minute, Austin still on the attack. Kolmanic crosses one on the ground, finds Urruti at the top of the box. He swings it onto Lima on the right side. Lima drives the low cross in across the front of goal. Driussi is there waiting to tap it in. Aaron Herrera slides, not dissimilar, from like right at the last moment, just like Kamal Miller did earlier in the first half. Knocks it out for a corner. Driussi frustrated, but not frustrated with anything, but like he knows we should be on the scoreboard at this point. 4 minutes later, Austin still dominating the possession. Dani crosses left to right for Nick Lima. Lima heads it down to Finley. Finley point blank range denied by Surwa. And I think Surwa, man, for being a guy who has played 8 MLS minutes coming into this match, he's 21 years old. His first start in that environment, he was good.
Yeah, he was absolutely solid.
87th minute, 2 subs for Montreal. Again, like we said, Kyoto takes his time coming off the bench. He was replaced by Elatis, I think is how you say that. Hamdi comes in for Lapalainen. And then here we go. Off the next play, off the restart, 88th minute, Driussi wins a deflected ball in our own half. He drives the play forward at, that MVP caliber pace. With him being on the ball like that, passes it right over to Lima. Lima, long cross in the air, right onto John Gallagher.
Beautiful.
Right onto his noggin, heads it down in front of net, Maxi Urruti. You talk about Zardes being in all the right spots. So is Maxi a lot of the time, and he was in the perfect spot here. Taps it in past Surwa. Crowd goes insane. I mean, it was loud in there.
Yeah.
We
were loud at your place.
We did get loud. We were back home by that point.
I had to check myself real quick.
Really, the only other thing to add to wrap it up here, 95th minute here, 6 minutes of extra time, or stoppage time rather, added. Lundqvist debuts, comes on for Gallagher. And I thought it was interesting here. Last kind of like minute and a half, 2 minutes after Lundqvist came on, Austin played with a back 5. And they actually had Zan Kolmanic kind of sitting as that left center back, Leo in the middle, Ring on the right, and of course Lima out right back, and Lundqvist kind of at the left wing back there. So I thought it was interesting to have Zan play the full 90, kind of be in that center back-ish role to close things out there. Obviously, you needed like 2 stops at that point to close out the game, but it was an interesting move nonetheless.
Indeed.
So 1-0 win, Austin, 3 points. We're on the board, everybody. Exhale.
Yeah.
Exhale.
Yes.
Some stats on the match here. You know, we talk about XG. It's everybody's favorite stat till it's not. 1.86 XG for Austin last night to 0.43 for Montreal. And one thing I noticed, I get that from FOTMob, right? Mm-hmm. There seems to be different XG models everywhere. Like you look on FB Ref, they're different. You look at what Apple's showing during the match. Because remember, Montreal was over 1 on their XG metric, and then FOTMob has them at 0.43. So if anybody's got, I guess, a note on what the best XG algorithm is, if there's one that's out there in the ether, let us know, because we would love to use it. 14 shots. Go ahead.
That's your request of the community this week?
Yeah. Give me the best XG.
All right. Let me get a request in too.
Okay. Request.
Whoever is cutting Seba's hair, someone let me know who this person is. This man's haircuts are incredible.
Yeah. I think that's actually out there. Like, because I think they tagged the guy. I mean, I don't know if it's a man or a woman, but on their like Instagram posts.
Yeah.
I'd imagine they're expensive haircuts.
She looked good.
It did look good. Now, those guys always look fresh, man.
Yeah, they always got a good cut going.
14 shots to 9 in favor of Austin, 5-2 on target in favor of Austin. Interesting stat here on Maxi. Maxi now has 10 regular season goals in an Austin uniform. 7 of them are game-winning goals.
Holy shit.
Yeah. So, that's
wild.
Yeah, you cannot understate how important he has been and will continue to be for this team. And again, if you come in that last 25 minutes, fresh as fuck, you're going to score some more game winners.
That's what we want him doing. And I think, honestly, we saw him in the preseason. We were at Verde Hill. Mm-hmm. We saw how they were using him. You know, he came in for those little bursts. Mm-hmm. He was away from the team doing his own thing, come in for the 20-minute burst, and I love it. Mm-hmm. It is exactly how it should be. And again, without a catastrophic back pass to the wrong team, 2-0.
Yep. So, I mean, it was – and we'll see. Obviously, so many games coming up fast and furious here with CCL interspersed with our regular season schedule. We could be feeling totally different come Tuesday night. But right now, I think all is well, at least in my book.
We heard a lot about boats and vessels last night. We
did.
We weathered a storm that was pretty rough. For the expectation for this team, and the expectations for this team are sky fucking high.
This season. And it's a trophy from somewhere.
People got to check themselves in that regard in terms of what to expect from this team going forward. But we have looked solid.
Some more XG stats before we move on to a little bit of a Violette preview here. Austin, and these are the FB Ref XG stats. Got this from our buddy Hernan over there at We Are Austin TV. Shout out to those guys. Missed seeing them last night after a win, right? Austin sitting 4th overall in MLS in XG, only behind Seattle, Philadelphia, and St. Louis. We're 4th overall in expected goals. Again, the chances are there, and Coach Wolf followed up on that last night, talking about how many chances we create, saying we score a lot of goals, and those goals will come.
Absolutely.
Let's go ahead and get into what we can expect here, or I guess what we expect, because, again, what we expected, at least last week, was not super close to what happened, at least in terms of talking Kip Keller. Again, Tuesday at 5 p.m. Central, taking on Violette AC, the team out of Haiti. This is the first match of the tournament. So we're kicking it off. Yeah, nice. It'll be fun. There's 2 others on Tuesday night, Philadelphia playing Alianza, and Orlando playing against Tigres. And then I believe 3 more matches on Wednesday, 5, 7, and 9 p.m. Central, which is nice. So if you want to watch all the matches, there's no overlap there. So we get our midweek soccer on. I am excited for that. This is Violette's first appearance in CCL, which I did not know until today. They qualified by winning the 2022 CONCACAF Caribbean Club Championship. I also thought it was interesting. I should have known this, but didn't, or at least it just wasn't at the front of my mind, that the reigning champ of CONCACAF Champions League does not auto-qualify. So Seattle, not in the tournament.
Oh,
yeah. And I know, like, we've read through the list before, and they haven't been on there, but it just didn't click for me until, we're 2 days out and we're really looking at this match.
Mm-hmm.
And again, Violette has been kind of, I think, discussed or reported by various outlets, various podcasts. I think we talked about it when the draw first happened. They've been playing, or practicing rather, in the Dominican Republic, given the, climate, political climate, economic climate there in Haiti. And I believe their last official match was in May of last year, the Caribbean Club Championship. So they have not played for 8 or 9 months now. So again, I think we should expect at least a decent performance here from Austin. We did get the roster though from from CCL. Everybody had to submit their official rosters to the tournament. Some interesting things on here. The thing that really stuck out, not just to us, but to everybody, I mentioned that this is our second Micah Burton episode 29. That was his preseason number. And now, apparently, with the first team in CCL, will don the number 35. Micah Burton, not signed to the first team officially, but on the roster for CONCACAF Champions League. Any takeaways for you? I guess maybe just excitement?
Just excitement. Yeah.
We also saw everybody's first and last full names on here. So like some of the things that stood out to me, right? You get those the guys from the Latin countries, those South American cultures, especially, where I think Schnorr Jones kind of helped us out with that. I think it's like both of your parents' last names are also your last names. Like you see with like Dani, it's Daniel Alejandro Pereira Gil, right? I think is his full name. You look at Johan Manuel Valencia Jimenez, names like that. And then you find out other things like Emiliano Ariel is his first name. We've got Leo Ani Arturi Visanen, I think is how you say that in Finnish. I don't know, but I think one of your favorites was Bradley Scott Stuver. Yeah,
Bradley Scott Stuver.
Yeah, I think you mentioned that you have all these guys beat in terms of length of full names.
Look at Damian Jan Loss.
Jan?
Yeah.
Damian Jan Loss?
Bro, he's got Yes, I do have I maybe Rodney's close to me. No, he's not close to me. Yeah, I got let's see. I got Ian, Caleb. Nobody steal my identity, please. Ian Caleb Schlosser, which is my dad's mom's maiden name.
Okay.
And then my last name is hyphenated, Austin hyphen Michaud.
So you got 5 names.
Yes, on my birth certificate I have 5 names, but my dad, he told me that I actually have 6 names because
secret name.
He added a little je ne sais quoi at the end there.
Okay.
So I'm Ian Caleb Schlosser, Austin Michaud, Ahimsa.
Oh.
Which is Hindu for nonviolent.
Mm.
Yeah.
I thought for some reason I thought you were going to say it was like Esquire or something.
DDS. So yeah, I got all these guys beat. Everyone wiped their memories of my full name.
Yeah. So this roster is essentially the first team. I don't believe we have. Yeah. So no CJ Fodre on this roster. I believe the roster in a certain round, maybe if you make it to the semifinals or something, I think there's a way you get to update your roster. So like you see Julio Cascante on here, even though he's injured, but no Fodre and Micah Burton. So maybe I'll refresh myself or try to figure out those roster rules and exactly how they work. But definitely excited to see this game on Tuesday. Excited to potentially see Micah Burton get out there. And I guess let's talk. The other thing, Dani Pereira is on this list. So Dani Pereira can leave the United States now? He must be able to, right?
I'm assuming.
That's an interesting development with his, asylum status and everything here. We saw him go up to Canada last year after missing those games in year 1
Do you think it's just like a European country kind of thing?
No, I think there was some sort of development last year where he was able to, because has something to do with work, maybe. I'm not sure, but we'll fucking take it, especially if we, we're gonna need him if we make it to the second round and got to go play, teams like Lyon and Tigres and maybe Pachuca down the road. Who knows, that's just it's a good thing, something that stuck out to me, and maybe not as notable considering I had forgotten until we just talked about it that he had played in Canada last year. Lineup predictions, man, I expect to see some heavy rotation. Because we do have that second leg to fall back on if this goes awry. So I don't think I'm not going to sit here and try to predict an 11. I would like to see Kip in the team, maybe not starting, but away from fans against a team I think we would be favored to beat if there was a betting line out there.
Yep.
But we can do, and I guess if you want to make any lineup predictions, go right ahead. But we can do our score predictions. So any lineup predictions you have, and then what is your score prediction for Tuesday, our CCL debut?
I'm really not going to try to figure out this lineup for this game, especially after Kip was just completely left off the roster. Sure. My confidence is about the same as his right now.
Yeah.
So, I'll pass there. I'm probably just going to go 3-1 again until it's fucking right.
All right. Well, so a 3-1 from you, and I'll switch it up.
Okay.
Give me 3-0.
Brad.
Give me another clean sheet. Shout out Brad. Shout out former captain Alex Ring. Shout out Leo.
He's still cap.
We can still call him Cap. Yeah.
Yeah.
We can have more than one, right?
Yeah.
In our hearts.
I'm going to keep calling him Cap. He was Cap for the first 2 years.
All right.
Still Cap.
A couple things here. I guess we can get into last business day because it was a busy week for Austin FC2. The team signed Alonso Ramirez. That was on Thursday. So Ramirez joins us on loan, or I should say FC2 on loan from Atlas FC in Liga MX. He's a 21-year-old, again, Mexican international, first joined the Atlas youth system in 2016. He went on to make 38 appearances for the U20 team there for Atlas in the sub-20 competition in Liga MX. He featured for the senior team when they came to Q2 last February. So he has played at Q2 already. We have seen him play, even though we didn't know it at the time. He was at Mazorqueros. That's a terrible pronunciation with zero culture involved, but I am what I am. He is that was in Mexico's Liga Premier on loan. So maybe that's like a USL or like a G League, AAA type thing for those Liga MX sides. 9 appearances there, 1 goal. So Alonso Ramirez, listed as a defensive midfielder, added to the roster. I did note that on night 1, and he was probably here for a few days at least before the official announcement, but on the day he was announced as an FC2 signing, played poker that night with David Rodriguez, Eric Lopez, Cristo Vela, and some of the other guys from FC2.
Nice.
So good to see him being integrated right into the team, right into, with the fellas, playing some poker and the shit, all that good stuff. Then the team, we'll pat ourselves on the back here a little bit, as we speculated last week, signed all 3 draft picks from this past the super draft, rather, this past summer. We talked about these guys at length over previous episodes. So all I have to add is I'm super excited to keep those guys around, especially Valentin Noel, just with his draft capital and how we went and got him instead of just letting him fall to us. And certainly we saw more of Mazzaferro than Valti in the preseason, but just the fact, like, these guys clearly showed something good, or else the club would have just passed and, taken some other high upside swings with FC2. So good to see all 3 of these guys sticking around, and congrats to them.
Big shout out to all of them. Congrats for sure. Hope we can have you around for a long time.
Apparently the team is going through a rezoning process of Palmer Field out there by the Performance Center, or maybe just the entire property as a whole. But it is apparently so they can charge admission to the Austin FC 2 games. I, maybe somewhat foolishly, and I think maybe both of us assumed that these games would be free at Palmer Field. So the first thing I did when I read that article and saw Landon tweeting about it was run a poll on if charging admission is going to change the number of matches for FC2 that you plan to attend. And I thought after the fact that maybe I should have added more than just a yes or no answer, because you could say no because you were already not planning on attending any of them. But just the two choices, little over 200.
Implied.
What's that?
It was implied in the way you phrased the question.
Sure, for sure. Over 200 votes there. 54% of people said no, it does not change their plans on how many games they expect to attend this year. What were your thoughts on that? Because I think it affects my thoughts. I'm already paying for all the FC games, and I would love to see every Austin FC 2 game that I possibly can, but that's just another deterrent to driving a little bit further, lesser competition, et cetera, et cetera. Like we are going to love this team, but I don't know. I also think it being free could maybe bring in some more fans that don't get to go to Q2 all the time. And I see you nodding your head. So what are your thoughts on that decision?
I mean, I definitely want to see what the pricing looks like. I'm assuming it's not going to be absurd.
Right.
You know, like I'm assuming it's going to be fairly cheap, but cheap is relative to a lot of people. And while I understand it from the team standpoint, obviously also, you know, it gives a little more legitimacy to those guys playing, you know, who have played in college or for clubs coming up, and, you know, gives them a little legitimacy in terms of, like, you know, the whole team there. But I'm not for it, because my main thing would be that I want everyone to have access to that club. And, you know, I mean, like, and it's not just the price of admission, right? Like, you go to the game, you bring your family, you have kids, whatever you do, it racks up pretty quickly.
Yeah. Well, and even if you're out at the Palmer Field, man, like, you bought a drink from the pitch when we were over there on the hill, and it's $12. Expensive. Yeah.
It's $12 for one fucking high noon.
Yeah.
So, I'm not a fan of it, because I think that there's plenty of people in this city and community who should be able to just go to that game and be able to take that in and become bigger Austin FC fans.
Well, that's, I mean, maybe this is corny, but, like, they build this team as the pathway, the bridge for the club, right? From the academy to the first team. And so, like, for me, why don't we also treat it that way for the fans? This can be the pathway, the bridge for people who are on the fence. Hey, let's go see an FC2 game. The pitch is cool. We can go walk around. Maybe we can play some pickleball, have some food, catch the match for free. Then maybe, hey, okay, well, I want to go be around 20,000 people and watch the first team. You know, I think we're both talking the same language here. But yeah, it's not the end of the world for sure. But just interesting decision.
Yeah, I mean, you could have just made a certain section paid and, like, ramped it up a little bit.
Sure. There's not many sections. It fits like 1,100 people, I think, there, like between 1,000 and 1,500. But point stands.
Something. You could do something. Yeah.
A couple interesting stats from our buddy Bob Ventimiglia over there at I-80 Sports. Just wanted to read out these courtesy of him on his Twitter feed today. Some interesting MLS stats through 2 match days. The Seattle Sounders lead the league on a +6 goal differential. Red Bulls have allowed 0 shots on goal. Contrary to that, the Colorado Rapids have allowed 29 shots on target.
Holy shit.
Yeah, riddle me that. Colorado also have converted 3.1 less goals than expected. That's a league worst. So Colorado going through it here at the beginning of the season. Yeah, damn is right. Looking at the standings, obviously, like you said, goal differential 6 for Seattle. They are one of 4 teams at the top of the standings. Didn't need Bob to help us out with that one. New England, 6 points. Seattle, 6 points. And then 2 surprises. One a surprise and one eyebrow-raising 6 points. Inter Miami 2-0, and maybe like Inter Miami should be just as eyebrow-raising because of who they did it against. Obviously, we know Montreal's not the same team, but they still have beat the number 2 in the East from last season, and now 2-0 over Philadelphia Union, the number 1 team in the East last season. Inter Miami off to a rip-roaring start as a St. Louis City, who takes down Charlotte 3-1 in their home opener. What the heck? Oh, okay. Did you see the giveaway that they got too? Again? What the hell is that?
Starting to become sort of some conspiracy.
Okay, but no. I want to know if whoever the hell that defender was, I want to know if Charlotte fans are on his ass like people were on Kip's. Because it's the same play.
It's not as bad, but it's bad. Yeah, I mean, that's it. Whatever. That was just me not wanting to agree with you.
We need more of that. I think we agree too much when we talk about Austin FC.
I have thought that sometimes too, but we're just so smart. Yeah, no, that was fucking crazy, man. And I hope I'm not. Look, the only thing I'm saying about St. Louis is I'll see you.
See you in August.
I'll see you there.
Yeah. Well, and to their credit, they were up 2-1 when they got that freebie goal to make it 3-1. St. Louis also leads the league with 50 tackles and 33 of them won. All 4 players who lead the league in tackles, coincidentally, are midfielders. You've got Ibarra from Atlanta, Mark Anthony Kay from Toronto, Artur there in Houston, and then Edward Lewin at St. Louis. Justin Glad from RSL leads the league with 7 shots blocked. Thiago Almada and Heber from Seattle, who came over from NYCFC in the offseason, lead the league with 10 shots apiece.
Heber's been
so
tough.
let's Yeah, and I mean, fucking Seattle, man, and they get Rui Daz, didn't even start yesterday. Now Heber's supposed to be the backup.
Yeah.
And he's having so much success in the Seattle team, they are scary.
Yeah, they're scary.
All right, well, a little over an hour here, so let's get into some of the nonsense. Again, we went to the most Verde wedding I've ever been to.
That's right.
So I guess, first and foremost, congrats to Mike and Emily. Congrats, Mr. and Mrs. Verdes Locos. That was a fun wedding, man. And I guess the thing I will say about it, and we can certainly get into some of it, because there were some characters there. Of course there are, with Mike and Brian and our buddies there. And
you meet people's families.
Yeah. And it was great. Sometimes that can be a dicey proposition sometimes.
For sure.
But we had a blast. And not only that, it wasn't just that, Mike getting married, Brian, his brother, we met them at Austin FC games, but there are so many other people at this wedding. Yeah. Not just that are Austin FC fans, but wearing Verde. For that. It's not just that they wore green. It was literally, it's game day. We're going to wear our Verde. And Mike has the Austin FC cufflinks on, looking fly. It was awesome to, if we're going to have this thing on a game day and not be with our Verde family at Q2, we were just with our Verde family at the wedding venue. And that was just, to me, that was icing on top of the cake that was that awesome ceremony last night and reception. And it was a blast.
Yeah, it was beautiful. Shout out to Mike and Emily for sure. Had a lovely, lovely time. Brian, great speech, my man.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, only if we could have wedding crashed Uncle Dave in there.
Oh, yeah. But Uncle Dave was our correspondent last night taking the video.
That's true. Unc, you did well. You did us proud, Unc.
He did.
Cardigan's on the way.
I will also say, easy over on Brian's. We were setting lines, 3.5 minutes. I took easy over. So I appreciate Brian helping me out there.
I don't remember a single bet that I made.
Well, and then, like you said earlier, we were kind of gathered around the side of the bar, had the game on a phone there. And when Jossie's goal went in, that ended up getting called back, but we celebrated. The entire wedding broke out into all right.
Yeah. Yeah. It was, I mean, everyone with the low key green on was fantastic.
Yeah. It was awesome.
Yeah. And then we had the jerseys on underneath. I don't know, not everyone has seen the pic. But don't worry, we were repping.
Oh yeah, we had the jerseys on
team.
underneath. So we did our part there. We brought the Wuju, and the guys took care of it on the field.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess we're over an hour here. I guess the only other thing I'll say is shout out Randy. That was he added to the experience of the wedding last night. It was fun getting to know him just a little bit before we left.
I know everything about him now.
Yeah, you do.
His whole life story.
Yeah. Heck of a pool player.
Huh?
Heck of a pool player.
Hell of a pool player.
Yeah.
Are we gonna tell the people what we got going on coming up?
What, in terms of like Wednesday's pod?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we've got some cool stuff planned. Actually, we can say this. This is all we know for sure. In-person pod, you and I sitting at a table across from each other. Correct. Undisclosed location, undisclosed everything else, because we're still kind of figuring it out. But
I thought we got confirmation last night that we were okay.
Oh, we'll get video component as well. Yeah,
video component.
Okay. Yeah, so I'm excited for that, and we'll see how it works. Things in the works here. Like we said a couple weeks ago, we kind of decided when the season started 2 weeks ago, we're going to do 2 episodes a week. And we had Tommy Scoops on. We wanted to preview the first match kind of in full, and just kind of fell in like that. We figured, hey, we have a lot of hot air coming out of our mouths, and we can fill 2 podcasts a week. So hopefully everybody keeps rocking with us through that and enjoys that cadence, right? Sunday night recaps, Wednesday night previews, and I guess when we're on double game weeks, Wednesday night recaps as well. So
this community is rabid for the info.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, it's great. It's a knowledgeable fan base, and we got to give people what they want. 2 a week.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So looking forward to that. Looking forward to wrapping up our first CCL match. Looking forward to previewing the RSL match, which I know for both of us, we have had that circled on our calendars. We'll talk about that more on Wednesday, but I already got my fingers crossed. No red cards. No red cards in RSL. Come on, boys.
We can do it.
Right? So that'll do it for us here. Episode 35, our Micah Burton episode. Hopefully we're talking about Micah after a nice performance here on Tuesday. But again, we'll be back Wednesday talking all that stuff that we just went through. If you've got 5 seconds to rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast, wherever you get your podcast, we would greatly appreciate it. If you're listening on the YouTube channel, you can hit that subscribe button and the notification bell to know when a new episode or a live stream goes live on the channel. Hit the thumbs up button on this video. Please help us battle those YouTube overlords. And if you're on the YouTube channel, right, then certainly we'll make a bigger deal about this when the time comes. But be on the lookout. This next podcast, more than likely going to be a video podcast, not just staring at some silly graphic that I made once we stop recording. So yeah, we're pumped up for that. Maybe a little bit more than I'm letting on, and you're kind of letting it slip there.
We can cut it out.
No, we don't cut anything out.
Yeah, I learned.
Yeah. All right, everybody. Appreciate you tuning in. We'll talk to you on Wednesday. For E, I'm Zach. Vamos Austin FC, everybody. Goodbye.